Happy Halloween, ghouls and ghosts! As a big fan of all things spooky, I wanted to talk about spooky roller coasters. This year, I wanted to talk about more than just one spooky coaster. So I searched among all of the roller coasters I've ridden to pick out and rank every coaster with a spooky theme that I have ridden. There are a few honorable mentions that didn't quite make the cuts. Spooky qualities were there, but they just weren't spooky enough for me. Honorable mentions include Dueling Dragons at Universal's Islands of Adventure. This has the spookiest queue line that I have ever been in. The theme itself is not very spooky, more so fantastical, fighting dragons, there's a wizard. Dragons and wizards don't really make the cut for spooky, but the queue line was goth as fuck. Borderline scary queue theming, and also
Fire Dragon
was my #1 coaster once upon a time. Valraven at Cedar Points. In Danish folklore, a Valraven is a supernatural raven that eats dead bodies on battlefields. There's this one story where one ate a king's heart and gained powers which it used for malicious acts. So, extremely spooky origins to the name, but the only thing that Cedar Point carried over was the raven and the king's crown. I just think that the theme was too dark for Cedar Point to address, so instead the park just describes Valraven as the king of dive coasters. Not spooky enough, especially because they replaced the cool throne with a park bench. Ugh. The Beast at Kings Island. This is a true spooky coaster in my heart, but I don't think that Kings Island quite sees it the same way. Children's spooky author R.L. Stine took this coaster's theme in a very different direction from the park in his book of the same name. R.L. Stine's version of the Beast is possessed by a ghost that can transport riders through time into a fiery hell tornado. There's a lot happening in this book, but to Kings Island, the Beast is just the Beast. An extremely long roller coaster in the woods. I just cannot quite justify putting the Beast on the list. So with the honorable mentions out of the way, viewer beware, you're in for a scare. Number 7, Rougarou at Cedar Point in Sandusky, Ohio. Rougarou is a floorless coaster manufactured by B&M. I was very close to demoting this coaster to honorable mention, but this one gets more spooky points than Valraven. Why is it spooky? The legend of Rougarou has been introduced through multiple generations. It was either spread through Louisiana from French settlers or by French-Canadian immigrants centuries prior. In short, Rougarou is a Louisiana swamp werewolf. Most people know that Rougarou is a creature. I mean, the logo for the ride pretty much clears that up. But I would prefer to have some New Orleans theming or something more representative of the legends of Rougarou. What we do have from the stories is that the coaster setting is in a swamp area. Without prior knowledge of the Rougarou creature, this is just the orange coaster with the name that you can't pronounce and the Monster Energy logo.
Bottoms up and the double laps. Wow.
This B&M floorless coaster was formerly known as a stand-up coaster named Mantis. The trains were converted in 2015 and the ride was rebranded as Rougarou. There are a few things working in Rougarou's favor. Cool logo, nice setting, I liked the fog, and the first half has some great inversions. After the mid-course break section though, I felt that Rougarou just kinda meandered a little bit. Some of the track profiling is also not B&M's best, and it's not a great pair with those big over-the-shoulder restraints. For its ride experience, I give Rougarou an okay, due to the second half being, kinda whack. For the spook commitment, I rate Rougarou with underbaked. Cool concept for a theme, but it just does not follow through. Number 6, Banshee at Kings Island in Mason, Ohio. Banshee is a very divisive B&M invert coaster, but we will get to that in a minute. Why is it spooky? In Irish folklore, a banshee is a spirit of a woman mourning death in a shrieking, wailing manner. Banshee is screaming ghosty coasty. First, Banshee's sign is sick and we have fog. There's a graveyard in the queue line with a monument for Son of Beast, which feels a little awkward because you know that Banshee is the only one mourning the death of Son of Beast. The station is a neat, kind of spooky church. At the top of a lift hill, riders are greeted with audio of a shrieking scream from a speaker. That's the gist of why it's spooky. As for Banshee's ride experience, I am personally not a big fan. I'm mostly fine with the vest restraints, that's not the problem. Banshee's layout consists of many consecutive inversions. Very large inversions. There is a series of long, sustained positive forces in between every one of these inversions. But the pretzel knot is a wild time. The pretzel knot is the name of the same inversion that was on Moonsault Scramble, a former roller coaster at Fuji-Q Highland. Moonsault Scramble's pretzel knot was known for its extremely high G-forces, exerting as much as 6.5 Gs. Banshee's pretzel knot is not that intense, but it's a doozy. This inversion is pretzel loop levels of intense, if you're familiar with those from B&M's flying model. Banshee just isn't my type of ride. I prefer B&M inverts to have more variety and short, snappy elements. But for others, Banshee is at the top in regards to inverts. I really do enjoy the slow inline twist, which provides loads of hang time. The drop is also fantastic. It is very steep. For the ride experience, I'm giving this one an okay again, personally. For spookiness, I give Banshee a boo. I really like the theme and also the unorthodox paint colors. Number 5. Flight of Fear at Kings Island in Mason, Ohio. I don't know what voice I'm doing anymore, and I'm going to stop. Flight of Fear is an enclosed launch coaster by Premier Rides. Opened in 1996, Flight of Fear is the first LIM launch coaster. Why is it spooky? Aliens. The exterior theming is actually awesome now with the Area 72 updates. The smoking meteors, love them. There are some updates in the exit and at the entrance. Inside, it seems mostly the same, if memory serves correctly. You enter the station through a UFO. There are bodies and body bags inside the station, along with an awesome booth for the ride operator to sit in. They look like the captain of the alien spacecraft. One note, the body bags used to be translucent and looked pretty gnarly inside. It looks like they covered them up with something reflective, but I kind of want it changed back. I love space theming, and I really love alien theming. I love launch coasters, I love dark enclosed coasters. This roller coaster crosses off a lot of boxes for me. After launching through the tunnel, Flight of Fear throws you into a short series of inversions. The first time I rode it, I couldn't see which way was up or which way was down. The rest of the layout isn't very flashy or intense, until the excellent corkscrew at the end of this ride. Despite the more meandering portion, I enjoy every second of this ride. It has the Space Mountain effect. Everything is emphasized in the dark. I give the ride experience an awesome. For spookiness, I give this coaster a big boo. This coaster is certified spooky. It's the real deal. Number 4. The Demon at Six Flags Great America in Gurnee, Illinois. I love this roller coaster so much that I feel bad listing it in the middle, but we are heading into some amazing roller coasters after this one. The Demon is a classic aerodynamics custom looper. Why is it spooky? In short, the Demon is themed to a possessed roller coaster. This theme is so simple, yet so genius, and it works because the Demon opened in 1976 as Turn of the Century. In 1979, Turn of the Century was possessed by the Demon. The airtime hill was replaced with 2 vertical loops, and 4 tunnels were added to the track. The Demon has its own cue audio spanning almost a half-hour long. This audio runs through interviews of witnesses and victims of the Demon, alongside reports from news anchors. Then, every so often, the ride's theme song plays. Someday I will do a full breakdown, but here's what you need to know. The Demon will possess its riders. Don't let it hear you scream. Don't look into its eyes. Oh yeah, and the Demon is also said to be a shapeshifter that can take the form of your biggest fears. Heading into the double corkscrews, the train dives into a rock tunnel in the form of the Demon's face, glowing red eyes and all. The Demon lets out a laugh as it possesses its passengers. During Fright Fest, they really crank up the spookiness and everything is just dark and red. There are lit up eyes watching you in the first tunnel. The fog before the corkscrews are blinding, making them feel extra intense. This is the sign of the Demon in the summer. This is the sign for the Demon during Fright Fest. I recommend you ride Demon during Fright Fest after dark. My favorite spot is the front seat for the full immersion. Any other time of the year, back row for the more intense experience. For the ride experience, I give the Demon a great.
Cool.
Spookiness, I rank it a King Boo. This is the cream of the crop of spooky coasters. It's campy as hell. I absolutely adore the theming. Arrow loopers hurt a lot of people, but they don't affect me that way at all, and this is always one of my most ridden coasters every year. Number 3, Mystic Timbers at Kings Island in Mason, Ohio.
Kings Island.
This wooden coaster by Great Coasters International is a pacing machine and packs a lot of punches. Why is it spooky? Unlike the Beast, Mystic Timbers has more of a narrative to it. A lumber company was destroying the forest at Kings Island. Wicked self-burn, guys. And this made a sentient tree very angry. The forest is now alive, and it is attacking. Despite this, you are stupid, and drive into the forest until the path leads you to a shed. Nothing can prepare you for what's inside the shed. A campy little post-ride show with projectors, flickering lights, and moving props. There is spooky audio while the car's radio transmission cuts in and out. So for people who still don't get the music, that's all it is. The train is the car or the truck, and that's the whole thing. There's also some more minimal theming in the queue and at the entrance. The chain lift is accompanied by more audio which warns riders to turn their truck around and go home and play their video games. This theme is good. There are some details that I'm probably missing, but the theme mostly makes sense to me. It's a highly original theme, and it's cohesive enough if you do just a little bit of deep diving. I find this sort of thing pretty rewarding anyways, so I kind of appreciate the loosey-goosey storytelling. This coaster's layout is tremendous. The trick track double up is amazing, providing 2 instances of both laterals and airtime sequentially. As mentioned earlier, it's a pacing machine. This GCI stays low to the ground, focusing on quick pops of airtime and turns through tunnels. This roller coaster is incredible. It just kind of hurts your butt after a few rides. I rank the ride experience for Mystic Timbers as epic, and the spookiness gets a big boo. It's not an absolute top-level spooky coaster experience, but it is pretty high up there. Number 2, Raven at Holiday World in Santa Claus, Indiana. This wooden roller coaster by Custom Coasters International is what started it all for Holiday World and its insane trio of legendary wooden coasters. Why is it spooky? First of all, it is located in Holiday World's section devoted entirely to Halloween, which is my favorite thing in the whole world, the Holiday World.
Oh, the legs are weird.
Second, Raven is loosely based on Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven. The entrance gate is a little modest, but suits the ride perfectly, and I like the brick, I like the lights, I like it. Third, we have the logo, and if the first 2 reasons weren't already enough for you, then I don't know what is. Raven, listen, Holiday World has done such an amazing job on maintaining these coasters leading into the 2021 season. Raven did not ride this well the first time I rode it, and I am just blown away by this ride now, especially now that I've also ridden it at night. The bank turn over the water is intense and I love it, but the sequence through the woods is next level at nighttime. It is nearly pitch black and you can just barely make out the image of the trees rushing past you. Then this coaster drops suddenly with no warning alongside the terrain and rushes through a series of turns packed with lateral forces. After dark, you have no clue where this coaster is taking you, and the sense of speed is out of control. This coaster is very short, yet the section through the woods absolutely blew me away. It's like being on the Beast at Kings Island at night, but way more twisty. Raven is amazing. It's one of those wooden roller coasters that provides an absolutely legendary night ride. The ride experience for Raven gets a legendary. Damn right. Spookiness rating is little boo. More touches of queue or station theming would be quite welcome. It's verified spooky though. This coaster is literally inside a Halloween themed land.
What's it like riding that sleigh on Christmas Eve? Come ride the Raven. It's as near to riding the sleigh as you'll get without coming aboard.
Number 1, the legend at Holiday World in Santa Claus, Indiana. Oh no, not Indiana. The second CCI wooden roller coaster at Holiday World took Raven's already crazy lateral forces and went berserk with them. This was another coaster that was benefited greatly from good maintenance because, goodness gracious, it's a wacky coaster. Why is it spooky? Halloween section. Second, it is themed to the legend of Sleepy Hollow. More specifically, the chase in the woods by the Headless Horseman. The station is themed to a classroom, such as the one that Ichabod Crane taught in. There's even a chalkboard with this really cool chalk illustration on it with the Headless Horseman. Every time a train dispatches, the rope is drawn to ring a big bell in the bell tower. Last, there's audio of a wolf howling at the top of a lift hill, and all these things are really, really neat. Raven is good during the day and amazing at night. Legend is amazing during the day and even more amazing at night. The airtime moments are really good. The lateral forces are straight up sadistic. Take the speedy helix on the beast at Kings Island. Okay, great. Now bank it even less. Now make the radius way tighter. Well done. This coaster is a big winding track of twists and dives through many tunnels. It extends beyond the rest of the park enough that once again it has very low visibility at night. There are several sudden ejector drops that also pair super well with this. I really like the work that GCI has done reprofiling sections of track. Legend is one of my absolute favorite wooden roller coasters at the moment. Holiday World and CCI knocked it out of the park with this one. Ride experience gets a legendary. Legend is a legend. For spookiness, I give it a boo. Almost a big boo, because I really like the bell and the howl, but it gets a boo. The commitment to the theme for Legend is further than that for Raven. With that, ghouls and ghosts, I hope that you have a very happy Halloween. This has been Zero Credits Remaining, signing off. Good night.